I sat at the far end of the dining room table, gripping a glass of lukewarm tap water, watching my wife pass out thick white envelopes like she was handing down royal decrees. Each one had her initials in gold foil, sealed with wax. The whole thing looked like it belonged in some palace, not a Saturday night dinner in suburbia. Her parents were beaming like they just launched a luxury brand. "We booked the ballroom at Maplewood Country Club," her mom announced, voice high and floaty like this was a press release. "Wait until you see the chandeliers." Her dad leaned back in his chair, chuckling. "We'll square up after Patrick fronts the deposits, like last time." He winked at me like we were in on some joke. I didn't laugh. I kept my mouth shut and took a sip of my water. Champagne glasses clinked around me. I was the only one without a drink worth anything. Bianca, my wife, didn't even glance my way as she rattled off orders like a checklist. "We need gold linens this time. No blush, champagne fountains, and switch the floral theme. I want orchids, real ones, white." She flipped a folder open and shoved it toward me without breaking stride. "Here's the updated list. Budget's tight, so shop around." Her sister smirked. "You're so good at stretching dollars." I opened the folder and stared at the same spreadsheet template I'd seen for the last 14 years. Venue contacts, catering options, vendor deposits. My name already filled in on half the forms. The job was assigned before I even said a word. No one asked if I could afford it. No one even said thank you. It was like being handed a leash. I caught Bianca's eyes for half a second, but she looked straight past me and kept talking about party favors and guest arrival times. Her dad raised a glass to toast her upcoming 35th like it was a national holiday. "To Bianca, the light of our lives," everyone clapped. I took another sip of water. 14 years of this. 14 years of them treating me like a damn event planner they forgot to pay. Quick note, before we get deeper, tell us which city or country you're watching from. I shifted in my seat, fingers clenched around the cheap glass. No one noticed. Or they didn't care. Her mom clapped her hands once. "Let's keep the energy high. This party has to outdo last year's." Outdo it, outspend it, outshine it. Same story, every time. I looked down at the folder again, then closed it slowly. I stood up. "Bathroom," I muttered. No one looked up, not even my wife, and I walked out of that room like it was already behind me. I stepped into the kitchen and tossed the party folder on the counter like it was junk mail. The envelopes were still bouncing in my head. The clapping, the orders, the blank looks like I didn't even have a name. I opened my laptop and pulled up my bank account. $4,628.72. That number might not look like much, but to me, that was 2 years of skipping vacations, taking every overtime shift I could, skipping the new tires I needed last winter. It was cutting corners on my own birthday every single year so I could cover hers. I glanced at the wall calendar. My birthday, circled in red, sat 2 weeks after hers, right there like a joke. I already knew what they'd say. Her mom, all smiles. "We're partied out." Her dad chuckling. "Let's just grab pizza or something easy, huh?" Bianca wouldn't even flinch. I opened the drawer under the microwave and pulled out a rubber-banded stack of receipts, old ones, all bent and yellowed at the corners. Caterers, florists, DJ deposits, half of them from my card, none of them ever reimbursed. One from 4 years ago made my chest tighten. A florist invoice, $800. I remember that one because I was supposed to be in Michigan that weekend, fishing trip with my cousin. Canceled it when Bianca called crying because the delivery got messed up and I was the only one who knows how to fix things. I found the email I sent her mom that night. "Don't worry, I paid it. Let's settle up later." She never did. I closed the email, leaned on the counter, and stared at my laptop. The party folder still sat open. Tabs for venue bookings, champagne suppliers, catering menus. I didn't touch it. Instead, I opened a new tab. Beach house rentals, Destin, Florida. Another one. Delta flights, round trip. Another, deep sea fishing charters. My heart started pounding. Not angry pounding, the kind you get when something inside you finally starts waking up after years of lying still. I clicked through a few listings until I found it. A weathered white house right off the sand, balcony view of the ocean, sleep 6. Available the exact week of my birthday. I didn't hesitate. I booked it. Right after, I opened a group text with my guys. Jeremy, Marco, Rich. Jeremy beat everyone to it. Jeremy: "Let me guess, Party slave again? Me. Not this year, I'm out. I took a breath. Not some dramatic, life-changing moment. Just a breath that felt like it belonged to me for once. Jeremy? You serious? Me. Beach house in Destin. 2 weeks. Just us. Marco? You finally snapped, huh? Jeremy. About damn time. I'll bring the good cigars. I closed Bianca's folder and slid it into the drawer next to the dishwasher. That thing could rot in there for all I cared. I clicked over to my confirmation email. Destin, FL, June 7th to June 21st. 2 weeks of ocean, bourbon, and fishing rods instead of orchids, theme colors, and champagne fountains. I looked around my kitchen, scratch counter, fridge humming, loud, cheap tile, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel trapped in it. This time, I wasn't asking permission. This time, I was choosing me. By morning, my phone was vibrating so much it felt hot in my pocket. New texts, missed calls, voicemails, all from Bianca, her mom, her sister, non-stop. We're thinking peonies instead of orchids. Can we invite the whole yoga class? What about valet parking? Not a single message asking if any of that was okay with me. At work, I was trying to get through invoices, but I couldn't focus. My phone buzzed every 2 minutes, and every buzz made my jaw clench tighter. Tom, my manager, walked by my desk, paused, and gave me one of those looks. You good, man? He asked, patting my back. I nodded without looking up. He dropped his voice. Take the afternoon. Seriously. You always pull your weight. Handle your family stuff. I didn't argue. I grabbed my phone and stepped into the stairwell where it was quiet. I hit accept on the latest incoming call. It was her mother. I just spoke with the pastry chef, and we want lobster puff appetizers during cocktail hour, she said, like we were mid-conversation. And the linen swatches we picked? Too beige. We're leaning champagne gold now, more elegant. I started to say something. Listen, money's no issue, she cut in, like that solved everything. Except it wasn't her money. We trust you'll take care of it, like always. I opened my mouth again, but she'd already hung up. Just like that. I stared at the stairwell wall, hands shaking, phone still pressed to my ear. That woman didn't even hear me. She didn't care what I had to say. I scrolled to her name and hit block. Back at my desk, I didn't even try to get back on task. I just stared at the screen. That night, after dinner, I pulled out the family photo albums from the hall closet. Big dusty ones, the kind with sticky pages and plastic covers. Bianca's birthdays? Every year had a 2-page spread. Outdoor tents, catered buffets, custom cakes, champagne glasses lined up like soldiers. Her family smiling like they were royalty. Mine? I flipped to a page with a single photo of me holding a pizza box. No candles, no gifts. I must have been 27. That was the only photo I found. I dropped the album back on the shelf. Phone buzzed again. Jeremy. Yo, you serious about that beach trip? I smiled, just a little. Me. Trip's booked. Destin, Florida. 2 weeks. Bring the good cigars. He replied instantly. Jeremy. Hell yes. Let's do this right. I turned off the living room lights, grabbed a beer from the fridge, and sat in the dark on the couch. They could send all the emails they wanted. Change themes, add guests, order gold napkins with her initials. Didn't matter. They thought I was still in it. But I was already gone. By Monday, I was running a full-blown con out of our living room. Fake vendor confirmations, fake deposits, fake updates, all wrapped up in shiny emails that looked just real enough to pass. I pulled logos off Google, built phony PDFs, even signed off like I was some overworked party planner named Cassie. Bianca didn't notice, didn't even open half of them. Her sister texted mid-morning. Make sure the cocktail menu has that gold-rimmed glassware we liked. No, please, no, hey, just an order. Like I was on staff. I replied, confirmed with the caterer, glassware's in. There was no caterer, there was no glassware, but they believed every word. Each fake task I completed felt like peeling off a chain. At family dinner that Thursday, Bianca's dad folded a partial check into his napkin and slid it across the table like we were dealing in the back alley envelopes. Just cover the rest until next week, he muttered. You've always been dependable. I stared at the check. It was $600 short. I nodded like usual. I'll handle it, I said, deadpan. just words now, like reading a script. Bianca didn't even look up from her phone. She was too busy flipping through venue photos, probably searching for taller centerpieces or bigger ice sculptures. While they talked about shrimp towers and engraved party favors, I was counting days. 10 more days. And they flew by faster than I expected. Jeremy called me that night. "You serious about this trip, right?" he asked. "Because I'm telling my wife I'm out for 2 weeks and I ain't walking that back." "I'm locked in," I said. "Booked, paid, and counting the minutes." He laughed. "I'll bring the steaks." Marco messaged right after. "Use my points. Got you upgraded to first class. Don't argue." I leaned back on the couch and smiled. These guys got it. They actually listened when I spoke. Next morning, I submitted a personal day request at work. Tom called me into his office. "Everything good at home?" "Yeah," I said. "Just family business." He nodded like he understood. And in a way, it wasn't a lie. Escaping that whole circus was family business, just not in the way they'd expect. Back home, I kept the scam running. I emailed a new seating chart to Bianca. She forwarded it straight to her mom without reading. Her mom replied, "This looks perfect. Tell Patrick he's such a lifesaver." I wanted to laugh. I poured myself a drink instead. Late that night, I opened a shared drive and uploaded fake invoices, PDFs, and photo mock-ups. I gave it a title, Bianca's 35th Planning Docs. They could dig through it all they wanted. It was nothing but air. As I logged out, I saw my birthday still circled on the calendar. I hadn't touched it. No edits, no plans, just red ink. But I didn't need a plan for that day anymore. It was already handled. The night before my flight, I got a group text from Bianca. "Emergency meeting, parents' house, be there by 6. No explanation, no please, just orders. I showed up, still in my work clothes, sat in their over-decorated living room, while her mom held up a photo of a floral arch like it was a crime scene. "These decorations aren't tall enough. It's supposed to feel grand, not pedestrian," she snapped. I blinked at her. "You want me to build taller flowers?" "You know what I mean," she snapped again. "You're so good with details. Just fix it." Bianca sat beside her, scrolling her phone, not saying a word. Didn't even glance my way. Her dad was nursing a scotch, legs crossed like he was sitting in a boardroom. He squinted at me. "Isn't your birthday coming up too?" Before I could answer, her mom jumped in. "Oh, right. Let's just do pizza at our place after Bianca's thing dies down. Nothing fancy." I nodded once, pulled my phone from my pocket, opened my planner, and typed the word pizza. Then I underlined it. Once, twice, 3 times. Bianca glanced up like she felt the air shift, but still didn't say anything. I stood up. "That everything?" Her mom waved her hand. "Just make sure the cocktail napkins match the flowers. We trust your eye." I left without a goodbye. The next morning, I packed in silence. The zipper on my duffel felt loud in the quiet room. I rolled up my fishing hat and dropped it in. Hawaiian shirt, brand new, tag still on, pack of cigars from Jeremy, already sealed in a Tupperware with a Bove de pack like it was gold. Last thing I added, the bottle of bourbon I'd been saving for a special occasion. 4 years in the cabinet, still sealed. I slid it in like it was armor. Around noon, my phone buzzed. Text from Bianca. "Orchids are feeling too plain. Can we switch to gold ones?" I let the message sit there, didn't even open it. 2 hours later, I finally replied, "Got it." That was the only thing I sent. No emoji, no sure thing. Just those 2 words. I plugged in my phone, zipped up the duffel, and set it by the front door. The countdown was over. The alarm went off at 4 a.m. Sharp. No snooze, no hesitation. I was already sitting on the edge of the bed before the first ring ended. The house was dead silent. No footsteps, no lights, just the low hum of the fridge in the kitchen. My bag sat by the door like a loyal dog waiting to leave. I grabbed it, slung it over my shoulder, and stepped outside. Jeremy's truck was already running, headlights cutting across the driveway. He leaned out the window with a smirk and tossed me a paper bag and a gas station coffee. "Let's roll," he said. "We're celebrating you now." I climbed in and shut the door. "Got you sausage and egg," he said, motioning to the bag. "No balloons, no glitter, just protein and caffeine." "Perfect," I muttered, already sipping the coffee. We hit the highway before the sun even hinted at rising. At the airport, everything felt lighter. Even the TSA line didn't bother me. The smell of jet fuel, the buzz of early travelers, the cold air inside the terminal. It all felt like freedom. By the time I made it to my gate, my phone lit up like a siren. 15 missed calls, all from Bianca and her mom. I stared at the screen for half a second, then swiped down and hit airplane mode. My shoulders dropped. I hadn't even boarded yet, and I already felt like a free man. 2 hours later, we landed in Florida. First thing I saw stepping out of the gate, Marco in board shorts and sunglasses, holding 2 beers like he'd been waiting his whole life for this. Behind him was Rich, dragging a cooler with wheels, grinning like an idiot. "Gentlemen," I said, stepping into the sunlight. Jeremy clapped my shoulder. "Let the healing begin." We dropped our stuff at the beach house, one of those 2-story places with chipped white paint and creaky stairs, the kind of place that smelled like salt and wood and freedom. There was beer in the fridge, ribs in the cooler, and cigars already on the porch table. "No decorations?" I said, cracking open a beer. "No speeches, no playlists, no family?" Marco tossed me a cigar. "Just a man's birthday, our way." That night, we walked the beach barefoot, the sky black and filled with stars. The waves hit the shore slow and steady. Nobody asked for photos. Nobody asked for anything. My phone stayed powered off in the side pocket of my backpack. Not buried, not lost, just ignored. By the time the sun started dropping over the Gulf, we were already a 6-pack deep and halfway through a steak Jeremy grilled right on the beach house porch. Wind in our faces, bourbon on the table, not a single candle in sight. Back in New Jersey, it was 6:30 p.m., sharp. At the Maplewood Country Club, guests started arriving in expensive shoes and tailored suits. Women in cocktail dresses, men holding gifts wrapped in silver foil. They stepped into a cold, dark ballroom. No lights, no music, no food, just silence and confusion. The receptionist blinked at them. "There's no event listed here under that name." Bianca arrived 10 minutes later, late as always, wearing a champagne-colored dress that probably cost more than my truck. She was glowing, smiling like she'd just landed from a magazine shoot, until she stepped inside. Her smile dropped so fast, it looked like it fell off her face. "Where's everything?" she snapped. Her mother was already on the phone, pacing in stilettos. "Call the florist, call the caterer, call the planner. Where the hell is Patrick?" Her dad started yelling at the front desk, trying to throw cash at the venue manager like this was Vegas. "There was no booking," the guy repeated, holding up a calendar with nothing written on it. "No contract, no deposit. Sorry, sir." People started whispering, then walking out. Some tried to play it cool, others didn't bother. One of Bianca's friends posted on Facebook, "Most awkward party I've ever attended. No food, no music, just nothing." Bianca stood dead center in that ballroom, heels clicking against tile as she paced in circles, phone pressed to her ear. "Answer your damn phone, Patrick," she yelled into the silence. Pick up! Pick up! What the hell is going on?" It was ringing to nowhere, straight to voicemail. At 9 p.m., they stumbled back to their house like a funeral procession. Her hair was frizzed, her makeup smudged, the hem of her dress ripped at the bottom. She collapsed onto the couch in full sobs. Her dad stormed back and forth in the kitchen, muttering about lawsuits and fraud. Her mom pointed fingers at the florist, the DJ, the venue, the fake confirmations. Anything but themselves. Meanwhile, I was chest deep in the warm salt water of the Gulf, holding a fishing rod with a cold beer tucked into the sand behind me. Jeremy stood next to me, reeling hard. "Got something!" I watched him pull in a big red snapper, flopping and fighting like hell. He held it up, laughing like a kid. "Best birthday ever," he said, grinning like he meant it. I raised my beer. Hell yes. And not once did I check my phone. I landed back in Jersey just after noon, still smelling like salt water and charcoal. The second I turned my phone on, it lit up like a Christmas tree gone wrong. 22 missed calls, 11 voicemails, 47 texts. "You humiliated us. I can't believe you do this to your wife. You're selfish. You destroyed our trust." The funniest part? Not one, "Are you okay?" Not one, "Where were you?" Just rage and shame. Then came a text from Aunt Carla, Bianca's aunt, and the only one in that family who ever treated me like a real human being. Aunt Carla. "They're waiting at your place. Be ready." No emotion, no sides, just facts. Like she knew I wouldn't be surprised. She was right. I pulled up to the driveway and saw their cars already there. Her dad's black SUV, her mom's Mercedes, and Bianca's hybrid parked dead center like it owned the street. I didn't stall. I didn't sit in the car to think. I walked straight to the door, unlocked it, and stepped inside. They were already seated, all three of them, on my couch, like they'd rehearsed it. Her dad leaned forward, hands clasped like a bad therapist. "Sit down," he said, low and stern. I didn't move. "I'll stand." Bianca looked like hell. Puffy eyes, blotchy face, arms crossed so tight she was practically hugging herself. Her mom looked personally offended, like I'd pissed on the family crest. "You're gonna explain," her dad said. So I did. I laid it out, calm and steady. 14 years of doing everything they asked, covering bills, organizing parties, canceling my own plans, eating cold pizza on my birthday while they threw open bar galas for theirs. I pulled out a folded stack of paper from my jacket and dropped it on the coffee table. "Receipts. Over $6,000 I've spent on your parties and promises. Not a dime back." Her mom opened her mouth. I didn't give her the chance. "Not once," I said. "Did any of you throw me a party? Not once did you ask me what I wanted. You didn't forget. You just didn't care." Bianca started crying again, soft at first, then full-on sobs. Her mom gasped like I'd slapped her. "This is how you treat family?" "No," I said. "This is how I stop letting you treat me like garbage." Her dad stood up, glaring. "This isn't how men act. Running off, humiliating your wife. That's not being a man." I reached into my pocket and pulled out the spare house key they'd been using for years. I walked it over and set it gently on the coffee table, right on top of the receipts. "You're right," I said. "A man stands up for himself. A man draws the line, and I'm done being your errand boy." I walked to the front door and opened it wide. "You can leave now." Nobody moved. They just stared at me like they didn't recognize the guy standing there. Maybe they didn't, but I sure as hell did. One by one, they stood up. Her mom went first, nose in the air. Her dad followed, muttering under his breath. Bianca was last. She hesitated, looked like she wanted to say something, but didn't. They stepped out without another word. I shut the door behind them. Then I locked it. The doorbell rang right as the ribs started to sizzle in the oven. I opened it, and there was Jeremy, grinning like an idiot, holding a box of cigars under one arm and a tray of foil-covered ribs under the other. "Birthday boy," he said. "Hope you're hungry." I stepped back and let him in. The place was already full. My place. Small 2-bedroom in Bayonne. Nothing fancy, but tonight it felt like the center of the universe. No decorations, no speeches, no fake smiles. Just real friends, cold drinks, loud laughs, and the smell of barbecue pushing out the windows. Marco and Rich were on the couch arguing about grill times. Trish was in the kitchen pulling out a cake she baked herself. Chocolate with bourbon caramel drizzle. She winked at me across the room like she already knew I'd go for a second slice. Then Aunt Carla walked in, carrying a framed photo wrapped in brown paper. "Got something for you," she said, handing it over. I unwrapped it slow. There I was, standing in the Florida surf, fishing rod in one hand, bottle of bourbon in the other, sunburned, laughing like a man who finally knew what freedom tasted like. "This is the real you," she said, tapping the glass. I nodded. She was right. That guy in the photo, that was me. Not the version that bowed his head and said, "Sure, I'll cover it." Not the guy who accepted crumbs and called them love. I looked around the room. On the wall behind me were more pictures from that same trip. Beach chairs, cigars, laughter frozen in time. And in front of me, a room full of people who chose to show up for me. Trish walked over and wrapped an arm around my shoulder. She smelled like vanilla and smoke from the ribs. "I made extra frosting," she whispered, "in case you're one of those freaks who likes the corner piece." I laughed. "You know me." My phone buzzed in my back pocket, 3 times. Bianca, then her mom, then her dad. I didn't block them. Never had. Just never felt the need to answer. I slipped the phone back in my pocket without looking. As the sun dropped low, we moved out to the porch. Marco lit the first cigar. Jeremy passed out beers. Rich raised his bottle. To the man who finally said no, I lit my cigar, leaned back in my chair, and let the smoke roll out slow. "To birthdays done right," I said.